Well, hello everyone. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and we're set up for another recycle review. Certainly have to tip my hat to Roy at Aquavitae. He's the genuine article. If you're looking for a better class of whiskey and certainly a more insightful person, go check out Roy at Aquavitae. But for me, if you're interested, I'm going to go through 15 bottles. I'll keep it to 15 minutes. Stick with me through the break. All right, thanks for coming back. I actually really like doing these because you get to talk very quickly through whiskey. Anything in depth is not going to happen, right? I've reviewed all of these bottles. If you're interested in more flavor notes, more tasting notes, contrasting, then you've got to hit up the channel and you've got to look for the reviews. But I'm going to start with I think Scotch today and end in bourbon or American whiskey. So first bottle up is a special release from Glenfiddich. This is their IPA experiment. The IPA experiment is they matured their whiskey, and then they had a special fellow. The details, as I said, are going to be somewhere else. Create a special IPA beer. And then the beer was aged in barrels, and then they put the whiskey, the Scotch, mature Scotch, back into those barrels for a short amount of carrying time. I don't mind this. It's bottled at 43. I enjoyed it at first. It fell away a little bit, but came back. And in the end, I like it. If it's priced high in your area, I wouldn't pursue it. But if it's reasonable and you like Glenfiddich and where it naturally leans, I think this just adds a little more maltiness to their regular expression. So I'd buy it again if it was priced right. Next one, Jura. This is their lightly peated. This is Jura Superstition. They've changed their line entirely, so you really can't get this anymore unless you see it on clearance. This is bottled at 43% here in North America. This one at least is better than their 10-year-old, or I can't remember what their first one was. Not Superstition, but it's going to escape me right now. That has no peat in it. This at least has some flavor in it, and it's not bad. Would I buy it again? Not going to buy this bottle. Actually, I'm not going to buy anything from Jura for a while. I'm going to have to get some taste of their new line before I commit to a bottle. Didn't impress me. If I go to this one, now this is a very accessible blend from Compass Box. The John Glazer is the main person behind that, but I know they have a whole team of excellent people, and they really work at creating blends and informing us. They tell us exactly what's in here. You can go on their website. They tell you, 10% this, 15% that. Just a awesome idea to be that transparent with us, the enthusiast or the casual drinker, but anyone who wants to know more. So I'm biased to like anything Compass Box puts out. This Great King Artist Blend is their non-peated entry level, often very affordable. It's also 43, but it's non-chill filtered and natural color. This one, I know it's a blend, but competes very well with entrance single malts. Especially if you see it on a good deal. I think it's worth trying. Yeah, this one I would suggest if you like Highland, maybe Speyside style scotches, then I think you'll like this one. I'd buy it again. Trying Irish. We'll go to Irish. So this is Tullamore Dew, and I think this is their straight up regular release. Yeah. So probably chill filter, probably colored, bottled only at 40%. All whiskey geeks can look away. But I like this one all the way through. I found myself liking it up front and then using it in light cocktails or kind of blends. I do a little bit of my own blending. And this one is sweet, easy to drink, easy to share. And crazy affordable where I am. So it has replaced my Jameson, right? So is it really a relaxing sipper? Is it something you pour to impress? No. but it's not that bad for a very light, very approachable whiskey. So I would buy this again because it's affordability. Whoop. Bushmills, Black Bush. Bushmills, Black Bush, same kind of thing, colored, 40%, likely chill filtered. But in keeping with the other Irish that we just talked about, it's triple distilled, so it's very clean, very approachable. This one has a little bit of sherry into it, plus maybe a little bit more malt. Both of these are blends, so there's some grain and some barley malt. This one has a little more malt than their regular release, and it's got that sherry influence. So halfway through this bottle, if I had done this, I would have said I'd buy it again. Crazy affordable, all that kind of stuff. But lately, like when I finished this bottle off, actually I wasn't as impressed with it. And it's kind of fallen off where I'd buy it again. So I'm not running out to buy this again. So Black Bush for me has fallen off that list. I'm probably not going to buy it for a while. All right, that's our Scotch and Irish. We'll move into Canadian. So Canadian, I'm in Canada, if you don't know. And so it's easy for me to get a variety of Canadian whiskey, not just the big releases. And I will say internationally, I'm getting, not tired, but I'm sad that more of our better releases just aren't available. This is 40 Creek, the Confederation Oak. So 40 Creek has some good flavored stuff, but they really struggle to get age-stamped whiskey out the door, and they tend to charge a little too much for their special releases. This particular one, Confederation Oak, has been hit and miss. I've had several bottles of this over the years. This one actually was good. I'm probably not going to buy it again, or at least for a really long time, because I've had too many misses, and there's just too many other good Canadian bottles out there right now. But it's sweet, full of maple sugar almost. It's decent. This one is Ice Cask from the Wayne Gretzky Distillery. It's bottled at 41.5. It's a little better than their red cask, which is a sourced whiskey put into red wine. This is sourced whiskey but put into their ice cask. It's still priced a little too much for what it is, but it's got a really nice interplay between the wine fruitiness and rye spice. So I like this. It's priced where I probably won't buy it again anytime soon, but I like the flavors. If it was $10 less, it'd probably hit the rotation. This is JP Weiser's. This is Canada 2018. JP has been releasing, or the Weiser group has been releasing, not the Weiser group, I would say Dr. Don Livermore and his group at Hiram Walker Distilleries have been releasing some really interesting stuff, right? With their special Pike Creek and their special Lot 40 and their special JP Weiser releases. Every Canada Day now, I think they've done it twice, they're releasing a special bottle. And this is one of them, right? This is obviously came out in 2018, and it celebrates the 49th parallel, the dividing line between us and our good neighbors in the south. It's bottled at 43.4. It's rumored to be somewhere around a 17-year-old whiskey, but then I saw another review that said actually it's got some younger stuff in it. This was enjoyable, drinkable. Certainly, I don't know if they overproduced or what happened, but I got it for a crazy deal. This is good. Would I buy it again? You know what? The thing is, it wasn't so good that I'm going to pursue the 2018 again, but it was good enough that I'm going to look for another one of their special releases, if that makes sense. So not this one again, but I certainly will buy whatever they put out in 2019. This is very local, like unless you are in Edmonton, possibly Alberta, it seems silly to talk about this bottle, but this is from the Hand Distillery just south of us in Nisku. It's called their Bar M Whiskey, and this is a special bottle, a bottle 344. I had one of the guys, the head distiller, sign it in the back, so I'll probably keep the bottle. I'll pull it out of here after I look like I'm recycling it. This represents all that is good and bad about the whiskey startup craze right now. Great guys working really hard, but this is a very young whiskey that they have to try to sell for about $100. I won't buy it again. It got better. I deliberately drank a little bit and then just let it sit, like just for a year. And when I went back into it, it was better than when I first cracked the top on it. But is it worth $100? I'm sorry, it's not, guys. I'd rather buy your gin or support you another way than pay that kind of money for an immature, unready whiskey. So I wouldn't buy that again. I'll use this as my transition piece to American. Is it American? No, this is Masterson's 10-year-old straight rye, bottled at 45%. This is a really special bottle for me. Because a couple of years ago it came out as Canadian Whiskey of the Year, and you had to chase around for this batch number. This is PSA3. I think Mark Bylock from Whiskey Topic really set me onto this bottle. And I would go around store by store, and they'd have different batches, but they didn't have this one. And finally I found this, and my wife bought it for me as a gift. When I opened this up, it was with Brad, actually, cousin Brad. And it blew me away. When I first had it, it just felt bold and full of flavor, and I loved the first third of it or more, really did. And then, I let it sit, not to see if it would change, but because, sometimes special bottles sit around for a while. And when I got back at it, I don't know if my palate changed or it became quieter in that kind of almost a year sitting on the shelf. But this one for me, especially the prices they wanted, I won't buy it again. And if you would have asked me within that first month that I was enjoying it, I just was like, oh, it's my best whiskey. I just love it. I can't get enough of it. But maybe it's because now the Lot 40 casks have come out, or maybe I've just had significantly more varieties of rye. But this one still has a special place in my heart, and I loved it. I'm not buying it again. So that's my transition. Canadian liquid released out of the States. And we'll go to some States bottles. I think I'll talk about this one probably again. Dickel, if you haven't seen, I had a bad bottle. This is the bad bottle, actually. I still have the one they replaced it with. Bottle at 45. It's a Tennessee whiskey. Lots of people have told me they like this one, and that's cool. This one, for me, just stays on that edge of sour, even after they replaced this bottle, that I'm not buying it again. Very affordable, and I know lots of you like it, but for me, it's got a sourness to it, and that's not because it's sour mash. That's about its process. That has nothing to do with its, everything has to do with its flavoring, but I just say the way that they've chosen to keep their yeast strain or whatever it is that's causing it to be just on that edge of sour that doesn't grab me the way I'd like it to. So I'm not buying that again. Now we are at Russell Reserve, this 10-year. It's an affordable age stamp bourbon, and if you're a Wild Turkey fan, you should try it at some point in your life. But since working through this bottle, I've had a little more rare breed and a few others in their family, and by the time I got to the end of this bottle, I felt like I'm probably not going to buy one for a while. So I kind of liked it, and then fell out of enjoyment with it, really. So it didn't hold up as well as I wanted it to. Not going to buy that again. So, Baker's. Baker's is part of the Jim Beam line. This is a stronger bourbon now. This is 53.5%. Now this is nice to see. An age stamp, a strong strength, 7 years. And this one for me got better in the bottle. Absolutely. Mediocre halfway through. When I was pouring out the last quarter of it, I liked it. So I don't know if that's my flavor changing, but it held up well. I would buy another bottle of Baker's. Oh, I guess I'm ending in high notes here. Two more. So this one, Woodford Reserve, this is a rye, bottle at 45.2%. When I opened this up, and even by the time I was reviewing it, so I was into it a little bit, I didn't like it. And I shared it with you guys that it was okay, but this one is another one that somewhere around the halfway mark, either I knew what to expect when I went to pour it, and it gave me a little more, how can I describe this one? It felt like there was age in the wood, even though there isn't an age stamp on it. Maybe if I smell it again, I'll remember my tasting. yeah, at first it didn't seem like a lot of rye flavor. I know that sounds silly. I don't mean flavoring. Like, it didn't have that grassy, herbally, minty. But halfway through, I found I really was finding that rhythm, that a little more spice, a little more grass, but still had some wood on it. So I haven't been describing flavors well. More like, will I buy, will I not buy? But I would buy this again now. I would. It got better, and I would buy it again. And then I'm going to end with, I guess this is the 15th bottle, Rittenhouse, straight rye bottled in bond. This is 50%, no age stamp. I don't know how these guys put this rye out for the price that they sell it for around here, but this is a great rye. It's spicy. It's a little young. It burns a little bit. A bottle at 50 or so, but the flavors are on point. And if I'm making a blend or a cocktail, it's lovely to slip this in, and it just punches up the volume of what you're having. Or if you just like rye, it's hard not to like this one. It is young, it is rough. It's certainly not as complicated as even the Woodford Reserve. It's not as complicated as that one, not as refined, but what a lot of flavor. Like, it's just a little more candy cherry in there, a little more. I'm not sure what to say, but this Rittenhouse, would I buy it again? You bet. So, hope you guys found that kind of interesting. I get going and then I forget to talk about the flavors, and I just talk about whether I want the bottle or don't want the bottle. But the episode is what it is. It's a way for me to finally recycle a few of those and maybe share kind of a buy or not buy. If you're more interested, remember, I've reviewed every one of those bottles. Did I say at the beginning that it's hats on for mental health? If I didn't, that's why I'm wearing a hat today, guys. In Alberta, actually I think it's across Canada, today is a day where we're trying to raise awareness for mental health issues. I would say, working in the school systems, I see a lot of times that our society recognizes, you play a sport and you get hurt, and we understand you need some recovery time, or you might need physiotherapy or someone to help you recover. But then we see professionals, teachers, principals, admin, or I see adults in the community, they get injured, they have a mental health injury, or they're not treating their own mental health well, and they might need some help. And then there seems to be a stigma to it, and I think that's just wrong. And in our industry, sometimes if you're going through something tough, you might lean and think you're going to find a solution in a bottle. And what you're going to find is great flavor, something to talk about, a good time with friends, but you're not going to find help if you've got a mental health injury. So if you are struggling, or someone is struggling with a mental health injury, or just aren't well mentally, seek some help. Find a good friend. Or look for, there's tons of help lines, there's tons of help numbers in any of the countries that are watching this. It's worth calling. It's just that important. You got to take it seriously. You got to take your physical health seriously, and you should take your mental health seriously. Well, thanks for listening to that public service announcement and sticking with me for this review. You guys have a great evening.